Sup shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track by an act named the Cosmic Orphans titled Where the Water Flows. And if we switch over to here, we have this track on YouTube. We're going to be listening through this track from start till finish and we're going to hear what we think. We've got a music from Tom Gorsuch, Brandon Kirkham, mix and mastering by Brandon Kirkham, as well as the vocals and lyrics, and the video is by Chris Reiser. Let's go. What do we have? Okay, we're starting with some piano. That's always a good way to begin. Where the water flows. I know that chord progression. Oh, okay, we're going for the 1, 5, 6, 4, something like that.
It's always the same. There's nothing to gain.
Nice bass resonance from that voice, as well as the development of that piano line.
I don't want to play anymore.
The guitar coming into layer and continue it. Fantastic.
We're all insane, abandoned and drifting offshore, where the water flows, where the water flows.
I do like the contrast in tones between the lightness and airiness, not like spooky, but like how airy it sounds of the piano, in contrast to the deep bass resonance of the vocals, and that steel string guitar that's on the sides now is just a really nice way of continuing to develop the finer aspects of the arpeggios and triads that we have in the chord progression.
That's where I will go.
It's very charming, you know. Nice accenting and dynamic range to the piano performance there.
There's no news at 10. It's us versus them. You're fighting a rich man's war.
It sounds like there's a bit of a bass resonance actually in the 100 to 125 hertz area there that, it sounds great. Just some of the words, I'm not sure if I'm getting them clearly.
The world's going woke. We're going broke. And I just wanna be alone. Where the water flows. Where the water flows. That's where I will go. That's where I will go. Where the water flows. Where the water flows. That's where I will go.
Really comfortable in his head voice there in that mid-range there. It sounds wonderful, especially with the cooler responses in the higher range. And then the guitars and the piano continuing to elaborate.
That's where I will go.
It does sound wistful, like someone who does want to escape from the fury and furor of everything like that. Furor, not fur. I don't know what other word I was saying there. Having a woodwind here is a nice new texture. We haven't obviously had that yet. It's very peaceful.
Where the water flows. Where the water flows. That's where I will go. That's where I will go. Where the water flows. Where the water flows. That's where I will go. That's where I will go.
It's charming. I do like the sound of it. I understand what the song's about. It's an effective single. Excellent. And it just kind of fades out like that with the view of the pier or the jetty, you know? It's great. And this is my conclusion of this review of Where the Water Flows by Cosmic Orphans. What do I think this track is about? I think it's about someone who wants to, again, escape from how maybe distracting, chaotic things are around them, the different philosophical belief systems that are maybe inhibiting their mental freedom. And I think it's basically trying to find some form of zen in the crazy world out there. And I think that's something that a lot of people will be able to relate to. You know, I think that the world's gone woke whilst we go broke, or something along that lines, was a powerful line. You know, I can understand that to an extent. It's like, you know, where does the part where you have to try and sort of like do acrobatics mentally, psychologically stop, and where does the point where it actually benefits us begin? Either way, however you feel, it's a good story. I think the vocals were done really well. I know I mentioned a slight resonance in like the 125 hertz area. It just sounded like there was some sort of like sub bass or bass resonance there. There's a bit, that kind of sound out, only in his low range. And that's not a bad thing. It's nice to have that you know, that chest voice there and that power behind it. It's a great range to be in, especially when you've got the sparkliness of those guitars, the piano, and even the woodwind parts later on. You know, I think that we clearly showed competent vocal performance there. We were again comfortable in a hidden chest voice there. We showed our vocal range off and knew to stage ourselves at different positions for different parts of the track. Sort of helped the listener understand where we were at. I like the fact we had call and responses in the chorus section, as if someone was close and far away, kind of going between those different distances, etc., trying to sort of demonstrate how far we wanted to be away from where we are at the moment. And yeah, I think it was very authentic from a performance perspective. Not really no complaints about the vocal performance. I think it's told the story well. It made sense, you know. And I might not have gotten every single word clearly, but the vast majority of them came through really nicely, and it was great. I think that the track itself behind that, 3 minutes 23, you know, it's a reasonably, you know, short track there in that 2 to 4 minute sweet spot. We had instrumental sections with verses and choruses, etc. And we even had a little sort of instrumental section with the woodwind, which is a nice alternate voicing to what we had with the verse and chorus parts from the singer. And, you know, the guitar parts, you know, stuck with those triads. I mean, I know that we started with the piano, of course. We started with the piano, and, you know, we had those interesting sort of triads associated with 1, 5, 6, 4. And then we did some broken chord or arpeggiated parts on our right hand to kind of sort of articulate those progressions further, those harmonies further. And the guitar was just a nice additional sheen amongst everything. The vocals coming in to sort of find that sweet spot in the mix there. But the fairly minimalist arrangement and composition there, I think, was really well placed. The vocals had a great presence in the mix. It didn't sound overcrowded. It didn't sound overcomplicated. It didn't sound overplayed. It was the right amount per instrument. I think that if we wanted to get out further, I think the song was the right length for what we were doing there. I don't think we could have gotten away with like 4 minutes unless we really had like more instruments in there or an extended solo section or something. But I think, yeah, it was short and sweet, and that's exactly what you want from a song like this. You want it to be impactful and not overstay its welcome. The production and recording, mixing and mastering there was good. It was great. I mean, like, you know, I know I mentioned again the slight resonance and the lower bass frequency of like the vocals, but you know, they were well recorded. The take was solid. There wasn't a note out of place. And I like the filtering EQ of the vocal, especially in that mid to higher range. He went into like the hook sections. So that was great. The piano sounded wonderful. You know, nicely sort of leveled and balanced there, and nice and wide in the stereo field, and the guitar is well placed really eloquently on the sides as well to have the piano guitar duo there working its wonders. The alt lead melody there, the woodwind that we had later on in the interlude section or the solo section, was a nice breath of fresh air and charming to listen to, and that was also nicely filtered so that it sat above the rest of it. And the mix sounded full. The leveling was great. There was no need for any other additional instruments because we had the frequency spectrum filled in nicely without, again, any weird resonances. So that was handled well. It was nice and low without pumping, and there was also a generous amount of dynamic range as well as changes in energy. And I think that was fantastic. And, you know, really great track. This is my review of Where the Water Flows by Cosmic Orphans. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go check out their various social medias and the YouTube page, and stay cool, stay safe. And please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands Out.